is most analogous to the 1930 to 1945 period in many, many, many ways. And so in that period, what you had is deflationary pressures, much the same way as we have deflationary. I mean, think about it, is the supply demand of goods and services such that it's tight, and in other words, we're short of the goods and services, and so prices are high. And that's one type of supply demand inflation. Then there's monetary inflation. And so like in the 1930s period, when you had deflation of goods and services, and you had inflation because of financial assets and other things because they produced it. And so you saw a series of currency declines. So you saw one country after another devalue its currency in relationship to other countries' currencies and in relationship to gold, which was then considered the money. And so there were those devaluations. Very similar. Another period of time that seems very similar to me is the 1980 to 1990 period, because what happened then is the world had a lot of debt and the money was tight. And then what happened is there was a debt crisis, and it differentiated some countries from other countries. So the emerging countries that owed a lot of debt and also didn't have the best benefit of the money that was coming out of the Federal Reserve had a crisis from 1980 to 1991 when they put the Brady bonds in. But at the same time, the United States was going through a reflation period in which assets reflated, but inflation rates fell globally. So it's important to distinguish what we mean by inflation. This is not a supply-demand kind of global supply-demand. We're going to be short of things, we're going to bid up its price kind of inflation. We have to deal with the monetary inflation. And I think in the early stages of this, you're going to see it reflected in asset prices. So you see it reflected to some extent in gold and to some extent into stocks and other things. And I can get into what I think will be the sort of the beneficiaries of that. It'll be a different kind of world. It'll be difficult to, it'll be a very selective world as to what will do well. But pay attention to the value of money. What is the storehold of wealth? No, don't just look at goods and services, because I think when we look at an economy the way we normally do, we just think it's all a function of goods, services, stocks and bonds and so on. And we may not pay enough attention to the value of money. I think we'll be in an environment where that'll be a very important issue.
Ray, I'm just going to take this opportunity to ask the second polling question of our audience. Let's bring it up, and here it is. What quarter will the U.S. economy return to positive growth? Will it be the third quarter of 2020, the fourth quarter of 2020, sometime in 2021, or once again, later than anybody thinks? I'm going to give the audience time to think about that for a moment and to register their responses. Ray,